election.
Now, the TUV leader Jim Ulster has announced a formal partnership with Reform UK in the upcoming general election. He unveiled the pact as Reform UK leader Richard Tice attended the TUV's annual conference in County Antrim at the weekend.
Mr Tice says discussions still need to take place about who stands in which seats and whether there are joint candidates.
But the key thing is that actually the principles, the really big principal policies of what we stand for, the integrity of the United Kingdom, low taxation, high growth, deregulating daft EU laws, scrapping the madness of net zero, scrapping the madness of the gender ideology. These are fundamental things to the constitutional integrity of the UK, and we're absolutely rock solid on those. That's what we stand for. And it's a great honour to be working with the TUV in all of that.
So how would this actually play out in a general election that's coming up in the coming months? Let's try and find out a little bit about that with the TUV leader, Jim Ulster, who's with us this morning. Jim, morning to you.
Good morning.
Why do you think that this improves your electoral chances? Why do you need a memorandum of understanding with Reform UK?
Well, this is about ensuring that the tens of thousands of Unionists who feel betrayed by the DUP returning to government to implement a protocol which the DUP, along with others, myself included, campaigned against for some years, then have turned turtle to implement the very thing they opposed, telling us there were zero checks and zero paperwork, when it's patently obvious the REC border, it continues, and indeed we're now found there's be £190 million spent on a border that doesn't exist, according to Sir Geoffrey, and 180 staff to man it.
But so you could have offered that alternative as you have done in the past, Jim Ulster, TUV. Why do you think you've a better chance with Reform UK?
It's not about having a better chance. It's about affording Unionism the morale boost of having a linkage across the United Kingdom. From my own point of view, I think Unionism has been far too parochial for far too many years. We do need a pan-UK approach, and to have a national party with affiliation and the strength that comes from that, I think is good for Unionism and affords people the opportunity to play into national politics rather than the toy town politics of Stormont.
So how will this work then? I mean, where does this mean, or what does this mean for candidates? This idea of whether there'll be joint candidates, who will decide who the candidates are going to be? Will they be TUV/Reform UK on the ballot paper? How do you envisage, Jim, that this will look come the campaign and polling day?
What I'd like to see is that every constituent has the opportunity to vote for someone in this alignment, either described in some areas, and no doubt as a TUV candidate, in other areas as a Reform UK candidate. But it'd be very, very clear that it's a joint venture, embracing the policies of both and affording Unionists the opportunity to reject the protocol, to reject an REC border, to reject being governed by foreign laws we don't make, we can't change, and to reassert our demand that our place is fully restored within the United Kingdom through Article 6 being restored.
So there will be either a TUV candidate or a Reform UK candidate standing in every constituency, in your view, at this point? That's the ambition?
That's certainly the ambition, yes.
Will you be one of those candidates? You haven't stood yourself, I don't think, for Westminster since, 2010, is that right?
Yes, well, as you know, I have responsibilities in Stormont, but the decisions as to who will be the candidates where have not yet been made, and that process will take its own course.
Would you like to run as a candidate?
Well, it's not about me. It's about affording to Unionists the opportunity to reject a union dismantling protocol, to reassert our demand to be a full and integral part of the United Kingdom. I think whatever.
But if you were to stand, Jim, you are one of those who would, be one of the most likely to perhaps win a seat. So, I mean, from a tactical point of view, surely you must be thinking that maybe I should run myself here.
Well, I'm thinking about all these things, but let's be very, very clear. Northern Ireland's constitutional position is in a dire situation. For the first time in 100 years, there's been constitutional change without consent. We are now a condominium, part ruled by British laws, part ruled by foreign EU laws. We have been detached from the United Kingdom. Now, no one else seems to care about that, and others are now implementing that, and that has been the effect of the DUP returning to Stormont to implement the protocol.
But
It is important that unions are given the opportunity to declare themselves in that and to continue the battle against that.
You're even going to stand in constituencies, though, where the incumbent DUP MP may not be 100% supportive of what Sir Geoffrey Donaldson has done. I mean, will you run against Carla Lockhart? Will you run against Sammy Wilson?
Well, a candidate is defined by the party label that they take and the policies of that party. The DUP, sadly now, at leadership level, is a protocol implementing policy, which tells us there's no REC border when we all see it every day. So each candidate has to make their decision whether that's a banner under which they're prepared to stand. But let's be very clear. Once the election is called, there are no party seats, there are no DUP seats, there are no Sinn Féin seats, there are the people's seats. And it will be the people that decide. And it's not the TUV that's dividing unionism. Unionism, if it's divided, was divided by those who tore up the joint declaration that unified unionism against the protocol and decided to shred that and become protocol.
But there are many.
They are the dividers of unionism.
But you know, there are many who will look at this and say the TUV entering the race here is great news for Alliance and great news for Sinn Féin.
Sorry, a protocol implementer is a protocol implementer, whatever their flag of party convenience. But let's be very clear. It was not the TUV that divided unionism. Unionism, on the 20th of September 2021, united to declare its unalterable opposition to the protocol. Those who shredded that, those who disavowed that, those who tore that up in the face of the electorate are those who have divided unionism. TUV hasn't moved. TV stands firm where it always stood, in strength, not weakness, and will continue to do that. So I will not have it put upon me the guilt of those who have disavowed the unity which was self-evident and there in respect of the protocol.
OK, we'll have to leave it there.